Brian Dorsett. Dorsett Auto Sales Inc. is the actual name of the corporation. We go by Dorsett Automotive right now. Of course, we're new car dealers, but at the same time, my grandfather started this business in 1958. E.R. Dorsett. His actual name was Elmer Dorsett, but he loved E.R. better than Elmer. And he and my grandmother got together and said, you know what, I need a job. I've got to go out and find something. I've been in a bad accident. I've got blown up in the type plant. And he started walking down Wabash Avenue, walked through a couple businesses, walked into a couple new car stores, ended up walking into Key Auto, which was right there where the Casemeyer glass is right now on Wabash, and became a salesperson there, led the board in sales his first month. And about 2, 3, 4, 5 years later in that range, he started having this dream of opening his own business. And he actually worked for a new car store, another different new car store, while he was purchasing his property, and started his business on Lafayette Avenue, 1467 Lafayette Avenue. He and my grandmother with 3 cars, and they grew it. My dad was working in another plant. He was an adult at the time, and married to my mother, and decided to get into business as well full-time in the early 60s. I was born in 61, so all I knew growing up was Dorsett Auto Sales, on Lafayette Avenue, and spent a lot of time down there learning the business. A lot of it just from osmosis, just being around it, and became a guy that washed cars, cleaned the floors, detailed cars, ended up running parts when I finally got my license. And then when I went to college, pretty much it was just working every once in a while, because I was a baseball player and didn't really have time to do that as much. But once I signed a pro contract, I would come back, work for my dad in the off season, and sold cars, and really got involved, and had the dream started, I believe, high school. My other dream other than baseball was to be a new car dealer, and was able to think in my head what it was going to take after my career to kind of get that path started. So I knew I needed all the experience I could get on the sales side, got involved in the family business, and the rest is history. Played pro baseball for 14 years, started buying my own cars, probably about my 10th or 11th season in the off season after I was already in the major leagues. And my dad and I would split the profits. He'd sell them for me, I'd buy them, I'd go to dealers, start my own relationships, go to the auctions, get involved in that. I got out of the Major League Baseball in 1997 and went to work for my dad, and just started, right away getting involved. And he and I were on the same page. He was allowing me to grow and make mistakes, and kind of take on that role of being the buyer for the business, and doing more things internally within the management side of the business, and just grew it. And I had a dream, and I called Mitsubishi, and we decided to ink a deal with Mitsubishi Motors. They liked us as a family, and they knew we were going to have to be really good selling used cars. We started on Lafayette Avenue with Mitsubishi Motors, and actually had cars delivered to us December of 2000. And my wife and I came down to South because Mitsubishi wanted to be where all the traffic was, next to a lot of the new car dealers. It's a big service industry here. This is the location they wanted to be. So what now is the Nissan store actually began as Mitsubishi in 2001, in July of 2001, and we have grown since then. We grew the business with Mitsubishi through 2012, and then we became new car dealers again with a different franchise, Nissan and Hyundai. We purchased that from the Romain Group in 2012, and we built a store for Hyundai and Mitsubishi, and actually operated across the street where the Academy Sports is right now for a while, in the old Chevy SETI building, and leased that for a while we were building our new store on 5 acres down here on the corner of Spring Hill and 41, and we were blessed to be able to take on that new challenge. Remodeled the Nissan store that we're in now, that was originally a Mitsubishi store, and we've grown again since then. We've purchased the Ford store in Marshall, Illinois. And now, having Brandon, my son, in the business, after graduating 2012 from Indiana State, went out and played baseball with the Toronto Blue Jays for 2 years as a pitcher, came back into the business with me, and has just been a phenomenal asset for our organization. Is growing in a lot of different roles and learning his new trade, and it's really been enjoyable for our whole family. He was able to work with my dad, and that was just tremendous. And he got a lot of knowledge by working with my father. He passed in February of 2018, so we miss him, and this has been wonderful to have Brandon coming into the Dorsett Automotive business with us. We have been very active, and right now we're in the middle of a new purchase, a new opportunity to grow our facilities, make them like about 10 acres worth of ground with 3 buildings by purchasing Aldi, right in the middle of Hyundai and Nissan. So that's kind of the story of this evolution of how things have happened with Dorsett Automotive since 1958.